Hello, this is Blake from Smoky Mountain Whips. I'm going to demonstrate how to use these tapering pegs that I get from Fint. Josh 3D prints these and gets a very accurate gauge. People call them gauges too. And this is how you can effectively taper your strands. In a perfect world, you would taper your strands as you cut them out initially off the skin, and then you would have very little waste. These strands, I did taper, but I've already pretty much knocked off all of the stuff that I was going to taper with my first peg. So this is kind of wacky what I'm doing here, so this is not normal, because I'm gonna split these strands, and I'm going to plait backwards on the handle. So I'm gonna have a 16 plait on the thong and a 32 plait on the handle. And so what I'm done here is I've gone down, because at the very beginning of the transition area, coming off of the handle, it tapers down really quickly. So, and it's like, it doesn't make sense to taper your strands right there. So I've just made them like a little bit thinner, so that they're going to be the thickness that they need to be at about like 12 inches off the handle. So the plaiting is going to start off like very extreme, and then eventually go more like that. and that'll also give you like a really tight transition area, in addition to whatever kind of binding you've got on there. So what I've done here is I've measured one strand, the first strand on the left here. I've made little marks with a Sharpie where I want it to taper. These are very long strands. This is a 10-foot whip. So I've seen my little marks here. So what I'm going to do is, I've already got my first, this is 4 millimeters right here. And the next one is going to be 3.5. Come down here to my first mark, put the peg right here, hold it like this, and then come in with the blade, and slowly see how there's like an angled notch. Like slowly slide it in. There we go. And then okay. So normally what I would do is just go ahead and do all of the strands with this peg, but for the sake of this video, I'm just going to go ahead and taper this first strand. So I got 3.5. There's where I went down to 3.5. And then next mark is right here. So we got 4, 3.5, and the next one is going to be 3. It's also really important for your blade to be like incredibly sharp. So there is quite a bit of waste on these strands. Normally I would try to get a little bit less waste, but what I did is I wet stretched these like really tight, because the whip I'm trying to make here is a 10-foot whip, and it needs to be like really tightly braided, really strong, so it's going to be able to like hold up through time and everything. Okay, so let's see. So 4, 3.5, 3. Okay, so the next mark is a little bit longer, because this it tapers a little bit more quickly off the handle. To get down to, because you wouldn't want to start dropping strands like, 1 foot off the handle. That doesn't make any sense. So you want to start dropping your strands like further down the whip. So you get, take it down to like 3 millimeters and then start dropping your strands for a 16 plat width. So this is where I'm going to go down to 2.5. So I probably have dropped a strand, around up here, and then the next strand drop will be like down here. So since these are such long strands, and my porch is only so long, I'm gonna put it on that hook there, come in with 2.5. Yeah. So the next one, and the final width or thickness, that I normally go down to is 2.25 for most whips. If you wet stretch your strands, that should be good if you're ending in 8 plat. If you're ending in 6 plat, it might be like 3 millimeters, I don't know. Everybody does it differently. I like to end pretty thin because you can really like pack your strands in and get it really, really tight on the point, because you don't really want that loosening up too much. But that's the way I do it. Some people say it's too thin, whatever, I don't care. 2.25. Okay. So these strands are about like 17, maybe 18 foot long, the longest ones. For a 10-foot whip, a lot of people say times 1.5 the length, but it really depends on how you plait, and I'm plaiting like more tighter at a different angle, so strands need to be like a little bit longer than times 1.5 the length. So yeah, there you have it. And again, these gauges or pegs, whatever you want to call them, are made by Josh Fint. You could find him on Facebook. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.